Basically, what I would like to do to test and give the people the freedom to learn how to be free.
Can you describe some challenges you faced when moving back to Ethiopia?
One day I was just sitting around and just kind of exploring. And then the folk story about how about going back to that route? Artists are working on this corner, musicians are working in this corner. Nobody's really working together. It was an attempt to get that together. The whole thing started with curiosity. I have a little studio at home. I'm the unlearned musician, he's the learned musician. So I'm trying to break everything he knows without knowing anything. In terms of the media, it's changing, but we do need to keep moving. It just feels like we're stuck somewhere. What I want to do is host one-yearly concerts and many concerts throughout the year. It's not just within Ethiopia only, within the continent of Africa.
Good afternoon. This is your Pan-African show called Afreeqa with your host Qazalawarq Seifu. Yet again, we come with another exciting guest for you this week. And the best part of this week's guest is he's the father of one of my favorite guests. Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
You need no introduction. You can always say Lebensdad.
Lebensdad?
I know.
It's always been that way. Everybody knows me as Lebensdad, as you know. I think everybody's forgetting my name, but my name is Tinos Yohanes. I was born in Addis, left for the US, and stayed there for about 25 years. Came back about 13 years ago to raise my son here, which the whole thing circles around Liban.
I know. So, do you blame us for calling you Lebensdad?
No, I don't. I kind of like it, actually.
I was just about to say, because you have to be, especially now, because now, currently, he's gone to college. He's in school, you know, hopefully going after his dreams.
Yes,
which is
yes, that's what he's doing, and he's doing beautifully.
Excellent. So congratulations to you, the parents, and the son.
Thank you very much.
I want to ask, what inspired you to transition from a finance career in New York City to pursuing media in Ethiopia?
The whole thing had happened accidentally, actually, when we decided to move from New York to Addis. When I came here, I really didn't know much. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't know the culture. I left as a kid. I was 12 when I left.
Wow.
So when I came here, I had no clue. All I knew is I wanted to raise my kid here.
You didn't know what to expect.
I didn't even know what I was going to do. So I happened to meet a friend of mine who already had a media company, adash and partner up with her to work in the media sector. And that kind of opened up my creative side. And since then, it's been nonstop.
Can you describe some challenges you faced when moving back to Ethiopia and how you overcame them? This is a question for a lot of us that are returnees, because some have stayed and some have just couldn't take it and gone back.
Yes. One of the biggest challenges was language for me. I was educated in Lycée, so our Amarinya was not that strong, especially back then. But I know how to speak, I knew how to read a little bit. And when you're working in a work environment, you have to read contracts, you have to read this, you have to read that. In the morning, and then I go to Flamingo to have my macchiato and read newspapers for 2 years.
Wow.
To get better at my Amarinya. And I have a friend of mine, Yaira Dalamarro, who has been helping me with my Amarinya. So keep engaging and to get better at my language skills.
So that was the only
That was one of the biggest problems I had.
What motivated you to focus on behavioral change communication through media in Ethiopia?
One of my biggest influences were my partner, Ida. And the work that we were doing was around behavioral change communication. And the clients that we had also were working towards achieving behavioral change communication in society or different segments of society. Like Yenya, when we worked on Yenya, I was mainly in charge of the talk show. Okay. And some parts of the music, but mostly on the talk show. So that part kind of grew on me. You know, you develop something and you don't know if it works or not. It's an assumption. And then you put it on the ground and you see it working, you see people being influenced by it. That's an amazing feeling.
How did your team come up with that concept, the Yenya brand, and what impact has it had on the community?
Well, as you know, I think one of the biggest, it's been a while. One of the biggest brands in Ethiopia, is Yenya, was developed to help young women and the issues around them. And the whole process of development was quite a consortium to develop a company, a consortium that works towards achieving the goals of defeating the pillars and the problems of the young girls and empowering young girls. So it's part of the work strategy that was dictated by the client, and finding the right characters. I mean, the process would need another show to go through the whole process. It's quite a long process.
It is. And it's also been a while, but I just wanted, our audience to know that you were one of
I was focusing morely on the talk show part.
One of the other ones that you had we wanted to talk about was Tinos.
Yeah.
I know,
it's kind of weird, huh?
That's a very good name. That's a good one. So tell us a little bit. I don't want to say how did you come up with the name, because it sounds like your name.
That's very obvious.
I know.
It started actually, Tinos Music Mix is a brand I created on Spotify. But also I'm trying to get it also on YouTube and things like that. It's mainly basically I use Spotify music to make mixes, different mixes for different genres, and release them and share them.
Exactly.
The name came about, one day I was just saying, no, the Tinos, okay. And then, I like to kind of tease my friends. Instead of Tinos Music Mix, I would say Tinos Everything.
Right.
And there's specifically one. So that's how it solidified. And then now we have about 160 playlists.
Wow.
On that station itself. You can find me on Spotify by typing TKMM or T-KNOWS Music Mix on Spotify, and then you get to listen African music, jazz, Amarinha, funk, disco, reggae. I go all over the place.
You do go all over the place.
It's one of my peaceful moments. Usually I like to work on that at night. And I sit down and listen to music, and I just go randomly fishing for music. And then you find beautiful things. I just love to do, I don't want to listen to the same thing I know. I want to go into new music, into new music, into new music all the time.
Yeah, because it's all there. It's all out there. It's not like before.
It's all accessible.
Yeah.
It's all accessible.
Right there. How did you come up with the idea of NRM Studios, and what unique element does it bring to the Ethiopian music scene?
Well, the whole thing started with curiosity. I was just, I have a little studio at home, a home studio, and also with my son. He's a musician, so I'm the unlearned musician, he's the learned musician. So I'm trying to break everything he knows without knowing anything. Okay? But the question was based on, one day I was just sitting around and just kind of exploring. And then the folk story about Saint Yared came to my mind. So I said, when Saint Yared started music, there was no G minor, there was no F flats, there was no 4/4s, there were 4/16s. So it was just trusting sound. So how about going back to that route and say, let's find and redefine and see, maybe we find new solutions to music, a new way of understanding music. That's how it all started.
Wow.
And so there's some crazy ideas that I would love to implement. But that's for another day.
No, but we would like to know just one of those crazy ideas that you are planning on implementing.
Basically, what I would like to do to test and give the people the freedom to learn how to be free in terms of music, because a lot of musicians, they're learned musicians. So it's hard for them to get out of that structure. So in order to get them out, what I would love to do is spread them around the courtyard, give them a headphone, and spread each one, so one musician can only see one other musician visually. And you put them a headphone, and then on the headphone, they can only hear what themselves are playing. They can't hear anybody else's. And the only requirement, the guy tells start as a body movement. Based on that body movement, the other one will look at him and play. And then somebody else will look at this one and play. And then let's see what happens.
Wow, that's a nice,
nice
idea.
Yeah, and then so that's one track. And then the second track is you edit and create a new sound. And the third track is you give it to a young DJ, those two tracks, and then let him do what he wants to do with it. So on that day that we record, there will be an artist, a painter, and a writer. The cover of the monthly album will be the painting.
The painting.
And then the spirit of the words will be the writer. So that should be published on that. The idea is to publish that every month.
Wow, I want to be a partner in this idea.
You're more than welcome. I need people.
It's a brilliant idea.
I need people.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
So what does it take? It takes obviously a studio, not only a studio, but like
compartments and things. But more importantly, the crucial part of it is musicians who believe in exploring and finding. Because if they're not open to it, you don't get the right sentiment.
True, true.
So it's the most difficult part is finding the right musician for this right project.
Can you share the vision behind Jazmari events and its role in promoting live music and cultural events in Ethiopia?
Jazmari events was started by Yaira Dalamarrao and myself. What we wanted to do is we wanted to find spaces where we can create live music environment and a great experience. It could be a dining experience, it could be a cocktail experience, it could be anything. But having that cultural center, or not even a cultural center, it could be a restaurant, it could be a venue, but just curating an event where people can come together and not get the usual nightlife, because people are kind of tired of the nightlife. There's some people also, there's a market that doesn't like to go out late nights.
Exactly.
So maybe catering for them to provide a space where they can come and enjoy good music, good environment, good ambiance, and that's the whole purpose of that.
So what has been your most rewarding experience curating music and live bands for various venues?
My favorite would be with Dase. When we did, again with Yaira Dalamarrao. We did it with Dase about 5-6 years ago. I think it was around February 5th or so. And that was the most spontaneous and rewarding internally. That's one. A second would be my sons, obviously. I had the pleasure of managing him as well as his band, LJ Trio. The beautiful thing about those guys was, they sit in the studio and they're fearless. And they're fearless and they would come up with something quick and then they'll play tonight, on the same night, without nothing. We agree on something and I'll walk away, I'll leave them, and then I'll tell them, I'll see you tonight. Where if they're playing at Fendika or Gion, and then by the time we get to Fendika or the venue, they say, "Oh, Dad, by the way, we've kind of scratched everything, and then we started new 3 songs, so we're going to play those." And that part it's just
you gotta love them.
I like that purity.
Most of our musicians are learned.
Yeah.
Your son was so free before he went to school.
Yeah.
Do you think that he would have that problem of being held because now he's in school? He used to be so free. He was able to do whatever. But now that he went to school and they're kind of like, might kind of limit him, do you think that would...
Eventually, that's the nature of the school system, no?
Unfortunately.
But I think I have faith enough in him because he's hungry. He's not stuck in one spot.
Yeah.
So he's exploring this kind. He's exploring different kinds. He's engaged in many different ways. So I think that would allow him to see and be flexible and see other things. So hopefully he won't stay in that box.
What inspired you to create the Art and Jazz event? And how has it evolved since its inception?
The Art and Jazz was actually created based on one sole thing. Again, it's through my daily life experiences that these projects keep coming up. What happened was, there was one time when I have a lot of artists, painter friends, and I realized I go to their houses, there's a ton of paintings looking at the wall, eating dust. And then you go to musician friends and I want them to be creative. And I was like, okay, why don't we, because everybody's working, artists are working on this corner, musicians are working in this corner, this and this are working in this corner. Nobody's really working together, really for real. So it was an attempt to get that together. That was the start. So I brought in musicians, artists, and I wanted something to bind the two. That's something not creative, but something more emotional. So I added a local NGO, which I wanted to support. So, and asked the artists to donate 1 art each for a blind auction, and all the revenue goes to them. Oh, wow. So that way, the artist feels like he's giving something, the buyer feels like he's giving something, the guys who are doing the local NGO, the grunt work, are feeling they're being heard and receiving money for it. So everybody walks out happy. So that was the whole purpose of that.
That's a beautiful way. So now going back to your Art and Jazz, It's not really art and jazz, but
Yeah.
you know, because now I think it's evolved.
It's
to,
evolved.
To
It's evolved. It's
our
evolved.
next, our next conversation, which is the brunch.
The brunch.
So now tell us about, because first of all, why did you think it should evolve from the art and jazz to the brunch? Why? Because I actually have been to the art and jazz, and I truly enjoyed it. Even though I've been to this one too, and I love this one, I just want to know what made you think that this one is better than the other one, or not.
It wasn't based on that kind of decision. It was just a business decision.
Okay. Even better.
It was just a business decision. I would love to continue the art and jazz, but I would like it to be maybe once a year kind of event, you know, because we'll be doing a lot of art shows or curate a lot of art shows throughout the year. And so that could be a summary of the year maybe as an event. But it's important, you know, I initially had thought I wanted to do it every 4 months.
Okay.
But then when I found the brunch and I could see that I can put the art in the brunch, so that way the other one can stay a little bit longer and work on this one better. So that's the whole.
Brilliant. So where is the brunch? How long has it been going on? And what is the goal?
Okay.
Because we've actually been to one of the brunches and spoken to one of your guests who has actually been there from the beginning.
Yeah.
But I would like you to also say it in your words.
So the brunch was started, it's at the Leopold Hotel behind Bambi's. It's got this beautiful outdoor space. And every time I walk in there, I feel like I'm outside of Addis. Why I started it was I wanted a space where I can work with, again, transitioning from art and jazz into that, and wanting to incorporate art, music, food, cocktails, and the guests themselves. And the reason why I called it actually brunch therapy was every Sunday, people come in, and by the time they leave, they feel they look like a lot of weight has gone down.
That's exactly, everybody's smiling.
That's the therapy part, you know? And then we have a lot of good music. We have DJ Jaji Def, Hedi Aklilu, and Deftara Abi are doing nice live music for us. We have great chefs that are doing catered a la carte menu. We have great cocktails, and the environment and great service, and the environment caters to our guests to be always walk out pleased and happy. And that's the whole goal, is to do that. And where I would like it to go would be, this would be the first starting point for this project. Where I want it to be, it's just maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, it will be a street festival with many restaurants, with many vendors, like artisans and other vendors, with bars and restaurants having space, and musicians having space. And so it'll be a festival like once a month where people get together during the summer seasons, or maybe we do it for 3 months or 4 months to have a day of celebrating our culture, celebrating our people, celebrating our music, celebrating our artists, all our creators, and things that make us feel good.
Beautifully said. With your extensive experience in finance, media, and arts, how do you balance these different fields in your professional life?
Wow, that's. I think it's become more of an instinct to me. I don't like. I've never even
think
stopped.
about that. You're doing this or this.
It's evolving every time, because every day, every part of that part works. Every project engages you in all aspects of the things that I've been dealing with. And especially all my projects, they're not hanging separately. The art is not just art and just music, and the music is also working with the art. And so those things are always working together, so it involves me with the music side, the art side, as well. Everything has to do with budget and numbers and things like that, so the finance will always help work that out.
Absolutely, I think that's a big asset. share an upcoming project or initiative that you are particularly excited about?
It's kind of premature to talk about it, but there's some events I'm working on. I would really want to score this event. It's still at the young phase of negotiations. It's celebrating African culture. It's a musical, cultural event. And the thing I want to do is host one yearly concert and many concerts throughout the year. And what that does is not just within Ethiopia only, within the continent of Africa.
Beautiful.
And there's a section I want to call links, which is the chain links. So you pick 3 links, and then we find 3 countries that connect each other within Africa. Let's say, for example, for Ethiopia, I would use the music side because of the Fulani or the pentatonic. So we have Ethiopia, Mali, Burkina, all those guys.
On that side.
You pick 3, or Benin, you pick those guys. 3 concerts, 3 people, you bring them over. Each one will have a show in the beginning, separately. But then they'll have a week to work together. And then at the closing of the event, which is a week event, they will perform together as one bit. So that's the link. So this is the music link, right? But there are many other countries within Africa that there's not only music that connects them, there's other things. A lot of different things. So finding those links and narrating our story, that's the goal I'm trying to make here.
Beautiful. What advice would you give to young Ethiopians looking to pursue careers in media, music, and art?
Do your research, pay your due diligence, and be fearless. Yeah. That's all.
What are your long-term goals for the media and arts landscape in Ethiopia?
I hope we're going to keep going in the direction that we're going. Because since I've been here 13 years. Where we were then and where we are now, it's night and day. In terms of the media, the production quality, the things that we do, and the kind of work we deliver. It's changing, but we do need to keep moving.
Right.
Yeah? I want, in terms of music, I want our musicians to develop and push forward. Because we're in most places, I mean, there's a study, I was talking to Teddy Aklilu, and he was mentioning to me about a percentage of people, what kind of music people listen here. And most of them like the old traditional music, 80%. That's a big number. But is that why we're not evolving? So producers are producing to cater to their clientele base. And so the clientele base is not asking for change. You know, so they're now changing because they just think about the money part only. So those are the things we need to challenge and push forward. Because our music is great. Exactly. And there's a young generation here that are using that and using it to catapult themselves to a different segment. And they're doing amazing work, and I appreciate that. But in general, it just feels like we're stuck somewhere. So hopefully changing that will be one of the main goals.
How do you envision the future of bilingual expressions and cultural assets in Ethiopia, and what role do you see yourself playing in that future?
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with this concert called Under 1,000 Stars.
I sure did.
Yeah, that's language, no?
Tell me about it. I would love to have that back.
Many different languages. That's a beautiful show. Beautiful concert.
Yeah.
And people got together from many far distances, by foot, by horse. They made it there, made their effort, put themselves out there, introduced their culture and music and everything and their dance, and shared without any issues. So why not?
Exactly.
Sundays, usually my habit is this. I usually stay home on Sundays. Well, before I started Sunday brunch. And just lie around and, you know, kind of enjoy the day, quiet day. He used to play music directly from his bed, run to the piano, and I'm on the couch listening, so sometimes I do record it. So you'll find some of those videos on his YouTube channel. And we will remember our young man. Yeah. So, Tinos, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. No problem, my pleasure. I thank you again. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
your Pan-African show called Afreeqa, and we are coming to you from Hotel de Leopold, or the Leopold Hotel. And we have come here because Tinos Yohanes has been having events here, and we wanted to talk to him in his surrounding.
Yes.
We come back
Welcome
to you.
everybody.
Yes.
Welcome to our Sunday brunch event. Thank you, Kasul, for having me.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. We are doing something amazing. As you hear the background sound, live band is playing in the back. We're trying to do some good music, some good environment, some good therapy for people to start their week, and that's the whole purpose.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So we've actually talked in length about everything that you are doing. What we wanted to do today was actually talk about where we are.
Yes.
And what you have done till today, because
Yes.
today happens to be the last finale for the winter. So
We started December 3rd. So it's been 7 months. Can you believe it?
wow,
Yeah, well, 7 months.
7 months.
Wow. So what we're doing now, it's kind of proof of concept, and we've seen the concept exists now, and we see it in our customers, we see it in ourselves, we see it in the employees, we see it in everybody. Everybody walks out happy, which is important for me. Yeah. So we are doing something original, I think, or something that's lacking in town, because you can go during the day and hang out during the day with your good friends, have a beautiful day, beautiful environment, beautiful food, excellent drinks. And what more do you want?
I know, beautiful
music?
ambience,
I mean,
music.
Come on. You know?
Sunday afternoon.
But today is maybe, I should say, the finale of our first season.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can't wait to come back September, October,
With
when
the
the rain
sun out.
stops. Oh my God, I've got dreams for this.
Beautiful.
So I can't wait to come back for that. And I want to tell everybody, don't miss out. When we come back, we want you back, okay? So we want you to be here, experience this thing that we feel therapeutic about it. And we want to partake with you on our space where we are feeling comfortable here. Yeah, okay.
Beautifully said. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody. As Tino said, come September, we all are going to come and have brunch therapy.
Brunch therapy.
Yes.
For all of us.
Yes, needed. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. This is your show,
That's okay.
with your host, Ghazal Seifu. We thank you.
We thank you.